HomeFront's here, and I just want to say that we are ecstatic to be a major sponsor of HomeFront Sitrep, a community that is ran by veterans and made for veterans. So thank you for tuning in. Talents was formed in order to create a music scene that was together in the form of a collective, so that no one has to do everything on their own. And guess what? We've been doing this for free for over a year. So please go and check out Talents through Facebook or through our official website at www.talenttalents.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting. Welcome, everybody, to a Monday edition of HomeFront Sitrep. How is everybody?
I can't.
What happened?
I love it. I love it.
You
This is
didn't
my
put that person's name in your little title.
This is my cousin Bob. Bob
Oh,
the
yeah?
gnome.
That's your cousin Bob?
Bob the gnome.
Bob the gnome. Well,
Yeah, he's
you know,
We're mythical creatures. Yeah, we are. All right,
How-
enough of
how-
that.
happy Monday.
How
man.
was your Father's Day, Willis?
My Father's Day was amazing. Brandon, I'll see your Bob, and I'll give you these.
Gimme. That's my people.
Oh no.
Those are my people.
But no, how
There's your logo.
Hello,
Yeah.
Lynn Monet.
so
Yeah, how was your Daddy's Day?
my daddy's day was amazing. Now, granted, here I'm going to preference this by saying it was my first daddy's day without my dad. It sucked in that aspect, but as a father of myself, you know, having two young children myself, I had to make sure I pulled myself together and was strong enough for them.
Right.
And my oldest daughter, who's 17, saw this shirt online, and she's like, "Hey, let's make that for my daddy." So mama, being the crafty one, she made me a shirt that says "Grumpy Old Vet. I do what I want." It's got the HomeFront Sitrep logo on one sleeve, and then it's got the American flag on the other side. So look at that one. He's another gnome. Hello, Lynn. How are you? Hello, Chris. How are you?
No gnomes. This is not a show about gnomes.
Yeah, no paranormal stuff on this one. No, I like it. But no, Father's Day was awesome. Thank you, Lynn. Father's Day was awesome. We got to hang out with some friends and swim for a little while. And then we had some good food last night. We had some sliders. They made some like little hamburger sliders with some corn on the cob, and what else? What else do we have? I don't remember.
Crayons.
Some
Crayons.
potatoes, some grilled like flat iron potatoes. Man, they were amazing.
Are you a daddy?
Who, me?
Yeah,
He's gonna
Yeah.
be your daddy.
he's not gonna be my daddy. His
Now,
wife that.
I got one of these on. Yes, I'm a daddy.
Married ones.
But no, so
I have 5 kids.
What?
he was like a rabbit.
What, Rosie Pond?
Well, 2 of them are my step kids, but I don't believe in step, so they're my kids.
There you go. There you go.
I spent the day with my daddy.
But no, yeah. So yesterday, it was awesome. Had a great day. Had a great weekend. Matter of fact, just all around it was a good weekend. And and we didn't have a show on Father's Day because it was Father's Day. So we were like, let's not do one. We added, we're adding 2 more. We're adding 2 more shows to Homefront Sitrep. So we're adding Tuesdays and Thursdays. Brandon is going to be the main co-host of the Tuesday Thursday crew.
That's gonna be a train wreck, y'all.
And then we're bringing in another host. Yes, we're bringing in another host. Brandon and I, we got to.
Thanks, Julie. I know. I feel like I'm just sitting here.
Hey, Jeremy Daniels, how are you? Hi, baby. How are you? You're not muted.
No, Julie heard me.
I know you're not muted. I heard you. You had a great day.
I hear you.
You spent it with your dad. You asked me how my day, and you asked Brandon if he was the daddy.
I know he did, Julie.
I didn't ignore her.
Like, just
I've been called daddy.
It's been something. I refuse. I refuse to call. I have a daddy. I got a daddy. I don't need another one.
Oh, but anyway, so Brandon is going to be the co-host. He's going to be the main host of Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're bringing in a 4th. Right now, he's in the process.
Many for you Marines out there.
Right now, he's in the process of moving bases. So he was in Fort Lost in the Woods, Missouri. Now he's moving to Fort Riley, Kansas. So he's got to get all that lined out. Brandon and I, we had a good conversation with Mended Sparrow Inc., which we're going to be recording that episode. They live out in the country, so
why don't we just go?
That's right, Lynn Monet. I'm gonna put that up there. Who's your daddy? Lynn Monet's one of my people.
She's one of my he always watches. That's my dad.
But no, so it's been a good little break, and we're doing all kinds of things in the background. I mean, all kinds of things in the background. With Military United podcast streams, Heroes Media Group, Veteran Voice Radio, which you see right there behind Brandon, Veteran Voice Media Foundation. I think I said that right?
Heroes Voice Media Foundation.
Heroes Voice Media Foundation.
There's so many we can't keep up.
There's so much going on.
Veteran Hundo Club.
And Veteran Hundo Club. We are now listed on babyboomer.org as one of their top veteran podcast groups out there.
Wait, have we?
I may look like a baby boomer, but I'm not.
We are number 1 still.
Woo!
And we're still number 1 on FeedSpot. The last I checked, we were still out of 100 best veteran podcasts. We were still number 1, holding down that spot for right now until Triple Threat decides to jump back up or take it back from me. Which, if they do, they do. I don't care. But no, overall, it's been we got a slew of things going on, and I'm excited to see the trajectory. Say that really fast because I couldn't. See where we're going.
I knew I was going to mess it
up. Yes. There you go, Lynn. Don't forget to subscribe and give a huge thumbs way up, or my daddy's going to beat your dad. Thank you.
That's right.
So definitely you want to go to Homefront Sitrep or go to YouTube, find Homefront Sitrep, like and follow. Find us on Facebook. If you're watching on Shaman Sundays, link out there. Thank you guys for doing that.
We are still number 1. Right this
awesome.
Second.
We are still number 1 on FeedSpot. So if you go to Google and type in 100 Best Veteran Podcast, we'll be popping right up on the screen there. So yeah, eat some peanut butter and try to say it. No, I can't say. Yeah, I can't even say it normal. So yeah,
some crayons back there. It might help.
Yeah, but anyway, you know what? Listen, Jeff, I don't need you laughing in the background, buddy.
So, Brandon, how was your Father's Day? Oh, it's great. Thanks for asking.
We did ask you how your Father's Day.
No, you asked if I was a daddy.
Well, I was leading into that.
You know what I like? I like to call Father's Day. Just imagine Samuel L. Jackson's favorite word, and that's what I call Father's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Okay.
Now think about it. It really
That's what I
works.
call Valentine, Wiener, Christmas.
It is Wiener Christmas.
I gave you a new one.
Yeah, all right.
But no, how was your Father's Day, Brandon? Since we got kind of
Oh no, this show's not about me. It's about Jeff.
Nobody's even met Jeff yet.
I met him. I like the guy.
I met him.
I like the guy.
Candace thinks he's sexy.
Well, I couldn't say that, but I mean,
you said it about what's his
You
name?
don't look at you.
I wouldn't kick him out of bed unless he wanted on the floor.
I mean,
I'm
he
just
said
saying.
that was first. To be fair.
Look, Lynn.
I had a great Father's Day.
Now we're talking.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I had
know,
had a good Father's Day
this year, though.
So you had
I
a good Father's Day?
Yeah, I didn't see any of my kids, and I didn't do a damn thing. It was great.
Oh man,
they're all off doing their.
I don't know what to say about it. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I
So-
know.
I went to Friendship, Indiana with my daddy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You better be your dad's friend.
yeah. You better be your dad's friend.
You're just daddy's little squirt, Candace.
Hey, at least I made it all the way in.
Oh,
Just
She was
remember,
the
out of
fastest swimmer.
a million, you were the fastest.
I know
the
some
fastest
people-
swimmer.
Look, I know some people that half of them went down their mommy's leg.
The best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress.
It happens.
Oh man,
This is gonna be a trip. I'm sorry, like Jeff. I'm sorry. I hope you're ready. You know, it's welcome to Homefront on a Monday night.
Yes, Jeremy. I'm tired of them snakes on that plane.
So tonight our guest is a Army Reserve veteran, father of 3 military veterans, or military. They're active duty, so they're not veterans yet. They're still active duty. They're in the military. I think
Come on.
two went to the Naval Academy. One is at West Point.
Why don't we let him tell us?
We will. And
What-
this is his new book, that's second edition, 4 lessons for my 3 sons. How you can raise resilient kids by Jeff Nelligan. And you can also go to his website.
I just want to see if mine is signed
All right.
better.
Or as I like to call him, Palpatine, because he just put 3 new people into the dark side.
Right, into the dark side. So
Yes.
let's bring up Mr.
Can I
Jeff to
drag
the
a few of
screen. Welcome
Hey
to the
guys,
show.
hey, how are you, man? Thanks for having me. My gosh,
thanks.
you know, with that kind of intro, no wonder you guys are #1 on, Heroes podcast. That was classic.
We try, man. We try.
You just never know what's going to happen. It's just as much of a surprise to us.
You never know what's going to happen within the first 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes of the show. I mean, it could go
Or the last 10.
it could go 100 different ways. So I'm getting your website up now so I can put it in chat.
We see you're rocking the West Point T-shirt.
Can we see
Yeah, I
that?
wore this,
Yeah.
one of my kids wasn't smart enough to be a naval officer or Marine, so he had to go Army. So he went there. he had his dad's brains. Unfortunately.
We'll call him Kylo Ren. He was sorry with the Star Wars stuff. I'm gonna quit.
Hey, I was watching Star Wars earlier today.
You don't tell me you were watching The Acolyte,
Oh,
because
Julie,
that's horrible.
I have watched the first 3 episodes of The Acolyte, but that's not what I was watching earlier.
Okay.
Julie this episode.
But
let's get into it. Whoa, Nelly! I just now saw your name.
Just
Whoa,
now.
Nelly.
So Jeff, introduce yourself and give us a little bit about your background, why you chose the National Guard or the Reserves, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. Hey, I got to grew up in LA, came back east to go to college, went to Capitol Hill, and was in politics for a long time. But in the midst of that, I had an idea that you guys had, because you're smarter, earlier than I did. At about the age of 28, I decided, I wanted to be in the service. I wanted to serve the country. And, I didn't want to be one of those guys at the age of 50 or 55, and neither of you are that, nor is Candace, and saying, oh, I wish I had, or I should have, or I really thought about. So I joined the Army Reserve, enlisted men, went through Fort Benning infantry school and all that. And it turned out to be probably one of the best decisions of my life, just because being in the service and being around all those kind of guys helped me become the father that I became, and thus at the end have 3, active duty military officers. And I will tell you, watching that intro that you had at the beginning of the show, I mean, it was like alternating between almost sobbing and just jumping up and, going crazy, because that's exactly what I wanted my sons to see and be a part of. And so that intro just brought it all back again, that decision made so many years ago.
Oh yeah, thank you. And I'll have to give credit to the intro for with talenttalents.com. Chris Hawks, he made that intro for me, and I had to go in and tweak it just a little bit with music wise, but I think it's amazing. And everybody loves the intro, and then I did the first little bit, like the 30-second countdown, and then the Ask Monica thing, and then the BetterHelp commercial, and then Chris took over from that, and he's done amazing with the intro and outro. And so if you're a little bit of a little spot here, just because we're talking about him, if you're in the music business countrywide, check out talenttalents.com. Everything that he does is free. He doesn't charge venues, bands, anything. He does it all for free. If you need somebody to do some digital graphics for you and stuff, he'll hook you up. He'll take care of you. So check out talenttalents.com, or you can find Chris Hawks on Facebook, or go to find Talent Talents on Facebook as well, and just message him and say, hey, I need this or this, and he'll definitely take care of you. So Jeff, you did your time in the military, and you're raising your kiddos, and this is not the only book you've written. You've written several books, and you co-authored several books.
Correct.
Most of the books are focused around parenting. So
yes.
What was the ideal of writing books about parenting?
Well, I'll tell you, you can take a glimpse around the world, around the United States, like I did when my kids were young. And even back then, let's say 2000, straight up, when the eldest kid is 5, you're thinking, oh boy, this generation of kids it was Generation Z. And the idea was, these kids are not built for this world. And there's a lack of values and character and behavior. And this is an old anecdote, every generation is picking on the next one. But
right.
All the values of the service. My dad was in the service, 2 uncles, my grandfather, my great grandfather, all were in the Army or Navy. And, that's the kind of values I grew up with. And I decided my kids are going to have those values, and I'm going to pound them into them. I'm not going to let the culture raise them. I'm going to raise them, myself and my wife at the time. And so that's how it came to be. And when the last kid left for West Point, I was driving back from West Point, and I got back home, and, I was kind of sad, but, that's just the way it is. The other 2 were already gone. They were overseas. And I just sat down, pulled out a pack of Marlboros and a Red Bull and said, you know what? I'm going to write about all the things that these kids did, and all the things that, that were taught them along the way, that I could end up by having all 3 in uniform, by the youngest being 18 years old.
Right. So
An extra emotional empty nest.
Yeah, my wife right now. So my oldest daughter, who's 17, when I went to camp for the first time, like it's a church camp, but this is the first time that she's been away from the home. She's always the one that always wanted to stay here, and then my youngest daughter, who just got a job recently. She went to Florida with some friends and, was gone. And she's always the one that we don't worry about. She's either going to be a prison gang leader or she's going to be the president of the United States. That's my youngest.
She is.
Yeah.
My oldest, however, is a rule follower. She's just a homebody. And so mama has, been like, oh my God, my kid's going away. What am I going to do? And it's just like, you'll be fine, Mom. But here's the thing. She's 17. She'll be a senior in high school. When she graduates high school, she's going to go into the military. She's going to go to college, then into the military in the Air Force. And her end goal is to be an FBI agent. And then my youngest, who's 15, getting ready to be 16 in September. I see you, Julie. She wants to go into the Army as a combat medic. And then once she gets done with that, she wants to go into be a teacher, a high school history teacher. And it's just like, holy cow. So I don't know, as dad, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if I'm ready for them to be out in the world, because the world's so crazy right now.
I guess you should write a book.
Well, I'll tell you, Willis, as a guy whose kids who are older, you've done some great parenting already. I don't know too many people, and I talk to hundreds of kids and parents, every couple months. I don't know, 2 kids who at 13 and 17 know what they want to do, and the choices they've made are not easy ones.
Yeah.
They don't want to be a barista or do performance art or work for a nonprofit. Those are hard roads ahead. And, you and your wife are doing the job, man, because that's really something.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I'll take credit for is helping guiding them in a direction. My wife is the driving force when it comes to helping the girls decide what they want to do in life and make them think about the future, not right now.
Look here, you know what?
Right.
Hush. Stop talking about yourself. Both of you, like the stability and the structure you guys have given for those girls, like it's both of you, and you both need to take credit for it. I don't know any of Brandon's spawns, but like between us, like we got some pretty awesome girls.
We do. But so
sorry.
In your book,
have you read the Bible? They talk about the fallen angels. That's my spawn.
My horns hold up my halo.
So in your book, one of the lessons that resonated with me is lead from the front, because I'm that type of person where if I wouldn't do it, you shouldn't do it. Now, and I teach my girls the same way, and I tell them that all the time. Just because your friends are going to the bridge to jump off of it, don't mean jump off that bridge.
Jump first.
You want to lead from the front. And I try to do that with my kids, with everything that I do in life, because you can ask my wife, when it comes to things, I like being first at everything. Like literally I have to be at church 40 or 30 minutes prior to church service and all that. And I like leading from the front. And
that's the Marine in you.
It is the Marine in me. But I also do that with my kids, because if I wouldn't do it, they shouldn't do it. And that's the way I look at it. And that's kind of where leading from the front kind of resonated with me, with anything in life,
that was one of two sayings that were screamed at me about a 1,000 times when I was at Fort Benning. Big, black, huge combat vet drill sergeant, just a badass.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always say that. He says, you're just soldiers, but each one of you has to lead at some point. You have to lead from the front, because there may not be anyone else around you. The second thing he said is assess, and he said in every situation, assess, adapt, advance. And so, these enlisted guys are getting this pounded into them, and it becomes reflective. It's muscle memory. I bet you, Brandon, and you have the same thing from the Marine Corps.
Yep.
Just that idea that, lead, follow, or get out of the way. And So as a dad, I tried to do that, and in that section of the book, I talk about, whenever they had games and everything, I'd show up in a jacket and tie. And, they would ask me, why the hell, Dad, you're the only man, the only dad here with a jacket and a tie on.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? This is why, and I'm never going to tell you again. I said, these games are really important to you. They're important to your coaches, and they're important to your teammates. So I'm showing you the respect you guys deserve for going out there. Even if you lose, I'm going to be standing there cheering you on in the kind of apparel that shows that I'm taking this all damn seriously. And I don't care if you're in 6th grade, It could be 6th grade, or like with the eldest kid at the national championships, NC2A in rugby, when his team played for West Point. Same damn coat, same damn tie. This is a measure of respect for what you're doing.
Yeah, it also gives them a good sense of pride with their parents too. It's not having your parents show up just not caring, like to have something that's showing up to show up. Like
well, it kind of makes the child proud. I'm trying to think because my dad did a lot of that stuff too. More, he was very, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be dressed to the nines. And when I was playing soccer, I would look up and I would see the man in the tie. Like I could find my dad immediately, and I would be so proud. Be like, "Hey, look, there's my dad." And then the next guy would be, "My parents are over there somewhere."
Yeah,
so,
or like Julie just said here, or parents not even showing up to their kids' events, and that's one thing. Like when I was growing up, my mom didn't come to all my football games, but she did come when she was able to come. Because when I was growing up, it was just my mom, and then my mom had to work 2 jobs. So I knew that there was games that she couldn't make it to. But my dad never came to one of my football games. And, God rest his soul, we made up, my dad was a summertime parent. Sometimes he was here, sometimes he wasn't here. But if I'm home from work, I try to make everything that I can do to go to my kids' sporting events. Now, granted, my oldest, who's an archer, I like to be loud because I'm just loud. In archery, you can't be loud. So, and I make her nervous. She said I make her nervous. So a lot of times she's like, "Daddy, I don't want you to go." But I think it's got better now. And then another thing, my wife will. This is something that my wife does that drives my kids crazy, is record their lives with pictures and videos.
They'll be thankful later.
Yeah, and that's that's here in your book as well. Record their lives, a year in review.
I can say that for my daughter, because my daughter will be 25 in September. And,
and I want to put this out. It's too late for me. My kids are grown, but I heard something really, really cool the other day, and I wish I'd have done it. They say as soon as your child is born, make them an email address.
Yes.
And then email the pictures of them growing up to that email address, and then give them the email address and the password when they're 18.
As long as you don't forget it.
Yeah, as long as you don't forget it. Yeah.
Yeah. But what a wonderful idea.
Yeah. Like my dad was out of state, so like he really wasn't at my games, my soccer games and stuff. But
so this is
Julie,
something.
You're so right. Like they're ignoring me tonight.
No, we're not ignoring it.
So ignoring.
Who said that? Did somebody say that? Who said
that? So this is how it is it going to change?
You were getting ready to get in so much trouble. You were showing the world these little naked baby pictures. These are called blackmail.
It's not changing. Hold on. But no. So I have on my computer. I have a buttload of pictures, and I'm just trying to see if I can get it where it will change. So let's see.
So I have a couple of questions while he's figuring that out.
Yeah, go ahead, Brandon. What do you got to say?
I mean, as long as you're not, excuse me, Princess, would you like to say something?
No, not at all. I was a funny little spicy.
Were you
baby slideshow?
Oh Lord, I can't even talk with the cuteness. I can't handle it.
Sit there and be
look
quiet.
At all the crotch goblins.
Oh
my.
Look at young Willis there.
There aren't naked. Well, you better
hey, Willis, it looks like you're pregnant.
I know, right? Look at
Aw.
that kid. But no, so we
No, wait, I'm gonna finish saying what I'm saying.
Okay.
And like, so my mom really wasn't at my games either. Yeah, you're gonna listen now. You have to. So like, I got so involved with my daughter when she started playing softball that I was like, you know what, I'm coaching. Then we started creating travel teams. Like we were everywhere. Me and she was doing volunteer work with me wherever I was. And it's like, now we go back and I have all these pictures and videos and memories. And she's told me, she's like, Mom, I'm so glad you did that. I know I was kind of a pain in the ass and like hated it when you were doing it. That's a good idea, Julie. But like, she's thankful for that now that she has that. Now mine's not trying to go into the military, but she did just start medical school to be a brain surgeon. So proud mama. Proud mama.
Wow.
She can practice on me. I don't have much.
Oh, she's going to practice on mama first.
So the question I have for you, Jeff, is you seem like a great man, squared away. I did like a little 30-second Google of your name, and I saw some big accomplishments there. But who molded you? Who turned you into the man that you have become?
I was, Providence. My mom and my dad. You couldn't have better parents. And, that's just, and my dad, again, he was a Navy vet and WW2, and he just had a certain way of doing things, kind of loose and easy, pretty funny. My mom was in politics. So she was, loose and upbeat and, extroverted, and it was a perfect combination. And so, all of it comes from that. And of course, my ex-wife, she deserves 90% of the credit for how the kids turned out because she's magnificent. I get 10% for being a major league nag. But, if you combine all this together, and the other thing too is, and you guys, this from the service, man, you always got to have a strategy. You got to have that plan. Right. Every day you freaking wake up. What's the plan? And
sometimes those
I had a strategy. Pardon me, Candace?
Sometimes those don't always work.
Right. Then that's when you have a plan B.
Yep.
But I had a strategy from the moment, from the first years they were there of what I wanted out of the kids, and the strategy had tactics. It was complete, total military kind of layover. And it was to build kids who were courteous and had character, who were confident, who were resilient, they wouldn't fold like a $3 suitcase when the heat was on, and who were ambitious. And that was the strategy. And virtually every aspect of their lives, I kind of viewed through one of those lenses of how we're moving the ball downfield. So that was key. And I can, I attested to the how I grew up and their mom, and, just the milieu, the neighborhoods, the communities, the schools that they were in.
And look at those missions accomplished.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, you guys are all parents, man. You got to know that you still think about them. I mean, my kid, 29 just yesterday, 28, 24. And I talked to him yesterday, obviously Father's Day, but you're still always thinking about them. And, like we all know, come on, man, everyone goes south. I mean, one of those guys could go south tonight.
Oh, yeah.
But the key, and that's just the way it works. But the key thing is, I know that the muscle memory, like I said earlier, the reflex is there, that if they get in a bind, they can get out of it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a killer. They'll get around it. And they have been in their binds through the course of their military careers and previous to that, where, things were, on the tightrope, and they made it across.
I think of the quote from Rocky, and I hate to do it, but where he says it's not about how many times how hard you can get hit, but how many times you can get back up.
Yeah,
right.
And that's true. And it seems like you've instilled that into your kids. And looking, at the "I love me" wall behind you, I really want to know, how did you have time? How did you balance political aspirations or your work life and balance it? Like, how were you able to do that?
That's why he gives his ex-wife 90%.
Yeah, that's one reason. But during the course of the political career, again, I mean, every day's got 24. It's just like a drill sergeant yelling at me again. Every day has 24 hours. You decide how you're going to use them.
Mm-hmm.
These jobs, some of them were kind of big time in the way of saying they took a lot of time.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about, Willis is going, lead from the front, always show up. I would leave work in DC and I'd drive 30 miles to a 7th grade lacrosse game. And then I'd drive back to DC and work until 8 or 9. Or if I didn't leave that day for a game, I would leave early from work, take it all home, and be cranking it out like at 10 or 11 at night. I mean, that was just the way that I had to build the day. Or I would, I'd be up super early, dark 100, man, to do stuff so that I could break away during the middle of the day. And if you do it enough, you just get in that routine. And of course, the older they get, I was lucky because I live about a half a mile, literally, down the same road from their private school that they attended from 5 through 12. So I was able to be in a lot of stuff because I was so close in the house.
Yeah. And I teach my girls always think about the future. And, it's one of those things that what we're teaching them now, and they think, what mom and dad's trying to teach them at the current point in their stage in life, being teenagers, is that mom and dad is being mean to them. And it's like, no, what we're trying to do is teach you how to be resilient when you get older, so that you understand that the world outside of mom and dad's house is not a nice place. It's brutal out there.
But I think we all think that when we're younger. Like, I know I did, and
Well,
it's
I guess
one
I
of those
grew up
things that
different.
you just don't.
Because I grew up on a farm, and literally I had an outhouse until I was 13 years old.
Wow.
So I grew up in the country, and I knew how hard it was because I saw my mom struggle. I seen the abuse that her boyfriend put us through, so I knew the world was hard. And I try to teach that to my kids. Like, my kids, when they were younger, I spanked them with my hand. Never used a belt on them. Never have I ever. Never will I ever. But they know right from wrong, and for the most part, they are amazing kids. I can't complain because they're both 4.0 students or better. They're both AP classes and college classes and honor classes. They have their life planned out as far as they can go. And my 15-year-old, she's been wanting to work since she was 14 years old, and she and just drive. And drive, and she just got a job, and she's 15. Kids nowadays would rather sit at home and play on the Xbox.
Adults nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I just think it's something like, if you didn't hate your parents at some point, like, they didn't.
Right. And I had the luxury. I was Gen X. I was a very feral child. I was one of those latchkey kids.
Same.
But and I think that we were the last generation of pre-internet.
Yeah.
Just go out there and fend for yourself. Do not come back in this house until that nightlight comes on.
Yeah.
Well, my childhood was a little bit different, of course. Like, I had that latchkey kid, but then I had my daughter very young, and I grew up really, really fast. So it's kind of weird to even watch people in my generation, your latchkey kids and things like that are still in this mindset of, what do they call it? Like
FOMO,
fear of missing out. Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, and the entitlement. I just don't.
Yeah.
I was so glad with Becca, like, growing up, like, once a week, she had different things. One day a week, she had to look up something in an encyclopedia. One night a week, she had to cook something. One night, we had to go out and work on something like the car or the lawnmower. And it was like, and it was pretty much a single parent at that point, because my husband at the time was gone.
Yeah.
Like 8 weeks at a time. But it was something like, I was like, this child, my child, is going to go into society with some common sense.
Yeah. And then
act like a civilized human being.
yeah, and we do that with our girls, and granted, Grace, like so I try to teach them how to cook. I love cooking. My youngest loves to cook. My oldest, she has just now started, wanting to cook and stuff like that and learn from dad. And I give my wife credit because we've been together for 20, little over 20 years. And our kids were born.
Congrats.
Thank you. Our kids were born in 07 and 08. And we decided very early on that we were going to teach them the rights and wrongs and make sure they didn't, like, we limited the screen time. Like they're like you can't have TVs in your room. They're 17 and 15, and they don't have a TV in their room. There's only two TVs in the house, and that's in the living room and the one in our bedroom. And so, but they do have their phones, but my wife has, limits on those. So we make sure that they get out and, do things, whether it's playing sports, whether it's playing or doing speech and debate, because my youngest is on the speech and debate team. She's the captain of the speech and debate team. And, she's literally, like I said, she's either going to be a prison leader, prison gang leader, or she's going to be the president of the United States. So it's
voting for the prison leader.
Oh, well, she might be, the military prison leader.
That's something.
But no,
you're exactly right. And your anecdotes and your stories about what you've done to limit your kids' screen time, you are preaching to the choir, brother. I'm telling you, that is the number one thrust of everything. Every time I talk or speak or interviewed, is just the enormous amount of screen time. I'll give you an example of what it is. For children, this is the CDC and Pew Foundation. Children 8 to 10 years old spend 6 hours a day on their phone. 11 to 18, it's 8 hours and 47 minutes a day on their phone. Now, that's more time than they sleep. And of course, what does too much screen time do? I tell you, this comes right from the CDC. Cognitive abilities and academic performance are stunted. Language development is affected. Social emotional development, including obesity, sleep disturbances, depression, and anxiety, are all increased. What you're doing is so counterintuitive to the culture. You guys are on the right track. So good for you. The other thing I wanted to kind of go off of what you said, and kind of Brandon had mentioned this, but you hit it. You're right. The world is not a nice place. And, all four of us here have had, hit that wall and those obstacles, sometimes career affecting. And sometimes, like you were talking about earlier, Candace, with your marriage, or, Willis, pretty much when you were growing up. My whole thing was our role as parents is not to just focus on building a relationship with our kids. We pretty much already have that.
It's not a friendship.
Right. Our single goal is to get that kid to build a relationship with the whole world around them, the people and the places and the failures and the successes, the Home Depot, the grocery store, the neighborhood, the volunteer opportunities, the athletic fields, whatever, robotics club, because that's where that kid's going to spend most of their life without you. By the time your kid has reached 12, you've spent 75% of the time you're going to spend with that kid already. By the time they're 18, it's 90%. So if you don't hit that kid early with the right way to live, man, that kid's like 26 years old living in your basement playing Minecraft.
Yeah.
Right.
And we tease my oldest that she's going to live at our house until she's 40. But we know better. Like, literally, she knows
she goes in the military, she's going to have to learn how to drive.
Oh yeah. She's a perfectionist. My oldest is a perfectionist. Like, she took her was it the SATs? And she or the ACT. Sorry, she took the ACT and she did good in some subjects. She did worse or not as good in other subjects.
Right.
So she went and retook it and she brought her grade up. And then, it's just like, because she wants to do really well. Now, granted, she was diagnosed with ADHD when she was younger, and she's been on her medicine since, God, I can't even tell you how long ago. But she's like, Daddy, I need to bring my grades up. I need to make sure I bring this up, and she does. But her thing is time management.
Oh,
and we try to preach that to her all the time. Your time management is what's going to help you in life. If you take 4 hours to get ready, that's not great time management. And one of our biggest arguments, like when we're trying to go anywhere, is waiting on her to get ready for stuff. And we start waking her up 3 hours early just so we can get her ready for church, because she takes that long to get ready. And it's
and I'll tell you how I broke that. I started saying, if you're not ready by the time it's time to go, we just leave.
Some kids like that.
Like I and it was a huge fight, but I did it over and over until it finally clicked. Now, my daughter's doing well. She's attending Clemson University. She's doing a wonderful thing. So
yeah, man,
she's in a sorority. I mean, she's got her social and academic schedule going. But sometimes, and I don't care. It just goes back to what you said, Candace. I'm not your friend. I'm your dad. After you're out on your own and you're an adult, then we can be friends. But
Jack always laughed about it, because she, like, when she was younger, she'd be like, "Bro," and I'm like, "I'm not your bro. Like, I'm not your buddy. We're not going there."
Yeah.
And you watched some of my struggle. With
that.
You definitely were there for that. But like, being able to watch your child pull themselves out of something, now, honestly, so detrimental, and we're not going to go into detail about that, but to watch your child like transform and pick themselves back up, is an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, your daughter was when I met your daughter, she was at a low point, and
not even the lowest of that low point,
and not even the lowest, and to see where she is now, where she's getting ready to be a what do you say, brain surgeon? That's phenomenal. In the words of Mr. Al Hero, that's phenomenal. And then my oldest, like I was saying with time management, she would be okay. Like, she would be ready. She don't care if she leaves the house looking like a ragamuffin or a homeless person. My wife would say. But my wife, she's like, hey, your hair needs to be brushed. You need good clothes on. Just because you want to be presentable to the world. What did you just do?
I used to get so mad at my dad and my mom because they would make me tuck my shirt in. They would make me make sure my hair was fixed. And I was so angry. I'm like, I don't want it. Well, now I get it, because I thought when I was a kid, I don't care what anybody thinks. Well, you better. You don't need to necessarily care about what they think about you personally, but you should care what they think and look for you professionally. If you don't
that's like the first chapter of the book, that whole time management that you hit upon, Willis, and exactly what you're saying, Brandon. I said the same damn drill sergeant who used to beat my ass in the Georgia mud.
Right.
He said, if you're 5 minutes early, you're late.
Yep.
He would say that to the whole damn company.
Yeah.
And it just, man, I'm 28 years old. I'm going, this is for life. So that was like the first thing the kids ever heard when they were like 3 or 4. If you're 5 minutes early, you're late. We're always going to be early to everything. That way there's no panic. You're prepared. You get to see the outline of the world of whatever event you're going to. And that second part about the presentable appearance, you kids are going to look good, modest clothing, haircuts. You're going to walk up to an adult and shake their hand, look them in the eye and say, hey, Mr. Brandon, hey, Mr. Willis, hey, Miss Candace, you're going to be that way. And then if they start doing it at 5, guess what? They're 29. They're calling the neighbor Mr. Voorhees. Good.
Respect.
Yeah.
It's respect. And you know what? I think that's one of my most favorite things about being in the military and first responder community for the past 20 plus years is because that's what you see in the family units. And even if they're not all like that, majority of them are,
Right.
and you see this structure and this respect from them. There is always a respect, especially in your smaller children and things, and you get to watch them grow up and they stay that way. Because if you go in the outside world, in the civilian world, where there's really not that structure, you tend to not see it so much. It's like you go walking through Walmart and you're like, well.
So I want to comment on what Lynn just said. It's on the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you are all great parents. Here's what I'm going to say to that. I don't think I'm a great parent.
Nope.
And the reason I don't think I'm a great parent is because I'm always learning. I'm always evolving.
That's part of being a parent, though.
I know that's part of being a parent, but I still struggle. Parenting is hard, especially as a teenager. With teenagers, it's hard because I'm still learning on a curve, and sometimes when they're very emotional, Dad has a hard time dealing with that because I'm not very emotional when it comes to certain things. I just don't. I just sometimes it's hard for me to explain to them why I feel the way I do, and so thank you for saying that, Lynn.
Yeah.
But I don't think I am a great parent. I think I'm an okay parent because I'm still. Granted, my kids are, they're 17 and 15, and they've already got their life planned out. I kind of give that credit to my wife because my wife is very, and I give myself credit too because I do help guide them, but I don't think I'm a great parent.
Mine's 24 and I'm still trying. We didn't all have desks around writing books when we were shooting them out.
Well, and my biological daughter, she was around the whole time I was in the Corps. When she was 3 when I left for Iraq, and when I came back, she saw the alcoholism, she saw the PTSD and all that. But I still, even though I couldn't help myself, I still tried to do the best I could for her. And she now, she's 22 and she is a traveling missionary. So something went right somewhere.
That's awesome.
As long as I am not I will never win Father of the Year. And I'm okay with that.
Tribulations are worth it sometimes. They are. And that's the thing is like, I should have been parented as I was parenting. Like, I'll give a little more detail. I had Becca when I was 14. Different circumstances, of course, but I was still supposed to be learning at that point. So it was kind of a unique experience that we grew up together. Like, we really did. Wow. We grew up together learning how to do life because I left home very early. Once I found out that I was good to go, I was gone. And me and Becca, like, we went through this struggle, but I don't think even today she'll tell me she never felt the struggle just because, I don't know, I tried my best to make sure that she didn't see that. And she had everything that she needed and most of what she wanted, and every choice was made for that child. So, I mean, we talk about this growing up as kids and stuff, and I can't really relate to some of it because I didn't experience that. I was a parent.
I mean, I'll tell you,
it's so rewarding.
What Lynn says, that's really nice of her to say, but after hearing that, Candace, I'd say you're probably the best parent of the 4 people on this screen.
100%.
You talk about freaking challenges,
yeah.
And there you are today sitting there with stud woman, stud daughter. And Lynn can say that about you. I'm like Brandon or, like Willis.
I don't think that.
My ex was the great parent. I was good enough. And at certain times, key moments in my son's lives, they would come to me and I'd say, well, you know what? Here's the way the old man sees it. And this was about going into service, going to the academies, senior year, doing sports and, like high end being recruited for sports. This is what I think about this coach. This is what your old man says. But I'd always say, that's what I say. I said, if your mom agrees with it, great. But if she does it and she has the opposite view, go with her. Because her track record is probably, over the course of years, it is better than mine. But Candace, I mean, that kind of story, that's a great parent, man, to get out of that kind of situation.
There's a lot of
my
learning.
God.
Look, here, I'm trying to see if we can do it. Can we see it? Where's that's my baby.
Wow. Attractive woman.
Baby.
Yeah,
She is
she's pretty.
So
Nellie, oh, sorry. Go ahead. It's your show, Willis.
no, you're good. So
I know it's my show now.
So not only
number one.
not only this book, which is the second edition,
I've got to get that book, by the way.
I'll send a free copy to you, Brandon.
You don't have to do that, sir. I don't mind paying.
No,
I
man.
don't feel special anymore.
Well, you're not.
Oh, I'll send you two, Candace.
No, I just need a better, like, give me a. No, never mind.
Candace, stop it.
Stop it, Candace. Gosh. So this being the latest book, second edition of 4 Lessons for My 3 Sons. So you have this book, you have the first edition, and then you have Be the Ball, which is an academic. What does it say? I can't read it. So how many books total you got?
I got about 7.
7.
And, I wrote one about politics, just being in politics for so many years after I kind of got out of the game. In fact, I took a career job with the federal government in order to spend more time with my sons, because at the time they're going through these crucial years of college recruiting and high school, and junior high and high school. So I took a career job and left Capitol Hill. I was a press secretary for a senator from Texas. I wrote one about that. So the political stuff. I wrote the Caddyshack book is it's a satire just because I love Caddyshack and I wanted to write something about it. Mm-hmm. And then, wrote one about your kids' rebound from pandemic lockdowns, which is how you could, these lockdowns, the quarantines, the masking, the school closures, the isolation just ravaged kids of all ages. And I wrote a book to say, hey, parents, this is what you can do to get your kids back to and better than what they were before the lockdowns. If smart parents saw the lockdowns and they said, this is going to be our chance to get ahead of everybody else, because everyone's going to be frozen looking at their screens at home. And this is the time now that we can push ahead of all of the competition. And very few parents did that. I've talked to a few who actually did that. So those are the books I wrote. But again, I'm telling you, Willis, it goes back to what you said about empty nesting. Even though your kid's 17 going away, Willis was saying, oh, she's going away to camp. My wife's kind of, a little bit offbeat now. I had all this time because I didn't have anything to do but watch from afar is what they did. I mean, the deployments all over the place. Hell, the Navy guys, they've, 5 deployments overseas.
Right.
They were rarely in the United States. So I had a lot of time in my hands.
I wish we could give that book to every parent there is out there right now, because, it wasn't just the kids that were affected by that. The pandemic, it took away social graces and being able to just communicate with people, and took the kindness out of the world. Like, my heart's still breaking. Like, I'm out in public and I'm like, what happened? Common sense is nowhere near common anymore. People don't know how to be around people. I think everybody needs to go back for a driver's test.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
Well,
But the entitlement, the sense of entitlement and selfishness, like, it hurts my heart to watch that right now. And I'm like, everybody's like, oh, everything's getting back to normal. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's nowhere near normal.
No, it'll never be back to like Brandon was saying earlier. We're that last generation, our generation, the way the boomer generation that raised us.
Well, at least some of us made some kids that are going to be decent enough.
Like my whole, so I got a big family, like an extended family. Like, my family's huge. Julie, my wife, who's on here, her family is relatively small very small compared to mine. But our generation, the way we were raised by our parents, is completely different than like my son raised my nephew, because there's been days that I just wanted to punch my nephew right in his face
Well,
because he's entitled. He thinks he's entitled.
we are 100% in the cycle of weak times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. And I 100% believe that we are now in that cycle where we're about to hit the hard times again. And I hate it, but it happens, it's cyclical. And that's the period we're at with all the talking back to your parents, being nasty to other people, other families in a restaurant and all this stuff. Well, we have reached the weak generation.
You're so, I love
government into our parenting. We allow government into our schools. We allow them to tell us what we can and cannot do with our kids. And you know what? I shot that thing out of my twat. Come here and tell me what I can do. Like, let's go.
That just happened.
Yeah, that just happened. I was like, whoa.
I mean, that's the reality of it, though. Like, I hate that.
Hey, Brandon,
tell me that
I need a beep because I never know what's coming out.
Too damn late, brother. It's that you can't unring that bell.
On here.
Some X-rated up on there.
Yeah. So what were Jeff?
The other stuff that's been said.
Before we go off the rails, what were you about to say, Jeff? I'm gonna write this shit.
For all the holidays, that's Shooter Pooter Day, Mother's Day.
Okay, yeah, baby.
Back to Nelly.
I was
Nelly.
going to say, you're exactly right. I love that cycle that you just mentioned, Brandon. And also, too, I want to go back to something Candace said before her lovely X-rated comments there, which I love.
X-rated. I could have had worse words, and it would have been.
I'm okay with it, too.
You talk about the social graces and all that, and both Brandon and Will has talked about, this Gen Z, and my kids are right at the beginning of it, so they're all Gen Z. To give you an example of how far we've fallen in social graces, as you put it, or personal responsibility, or the ability to shake someone's hand and look them in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Resume Wallet just released a survey they've done at 1,600 Gen Zers and 1,600 of their parents. And they noted that college grads aged 22 to 24, 34% of them bring their parents to their first job interview.
What?
That is crazy.
34% of kids going into a job interview, 1 out of 3, their first interview with a hiring manager, bring their parents with them into the room.
But wait.
Now that's twofold. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to just blast this. That's twofold. That's on them, but that's also on the company. If you're hiring somebody and they bring their parent, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to politely ask that they step out. I'm interviewing you, not them.
It's cancel culture. It's what it is. It's cancel culture. It's everybody's afraid to upset or offend somebody anymore.
I am doing my best not to get political here.
Yeah.
I'm so trying.
But I mean, that's the kind of social graces, Candace puts it that way. I mean, that's a nice way to put it. It's, very diplomatic, but you've just got too many kids who are staring at screens, who don't have, just the basic human dignity or the fundamentals to act in a normal society, and the only place where you do have those people, and I'll go right back to the beginning of this show, is in the military. In all the images you showed to us that Talon put together, that's where you're going to find people who have personal respect and follow or lead or get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
The people that have that personal dignity and sense of responsibility to do what it takes.
Yeah.
And the rest of them are so far out there, they're gone.
You're right, but we're almost still talking old school, because if you look at the way that things are changing in the military now.
No, just look at your upper echelons. And again, I'm doing my damnedest not to. But if we look at Milley, like General Milley and others, and what they are trying to teach in the military, it's civilian culture bleeding over into military.
And you imagine having a timeout card when you were in?
No.
like over in Haiti going, wait, here's my timeout card. Like I need to take a timeout. Like,
my timeout was when my buddy was bleeding on me and I was doing my best to save his life. That was my timeout.
You were still not taking a timeout. Like, could you imagine what would have happened?
Well, they don't have
with the people around. They would have beat your ass.
Well, they don't have stress cards like everybody says. That's a.
They did for a little. They actually did for a little bit.
Well, the Marine Corps never had them. As far as I know.
Yes, they did.
Did they?
Yes, they all did.
My buddy was my buddy was a drill instructor, and he said first time somebody pulled the stress card on him, he took it and ate it. So, yeah.
So y'all were just talking about like my youngest who just got a job. She was going to go deposit her money into the bank because she gets a hard check, so she's got to go deposit it into the bank. And we were on the way to the bank, and she goes, Dad, can you go in and deposit my check for me?
Nope.
And I was like, no, get your happy ass out of the truck,
walk
in there and say, hey, I would like to deposit this in my account.
You know what you should have done? And I would have done this too. I would have walked in. Sure, I can go in and deposit your check, and I'd have put it in my account.
Yeah.
You should have taken her to get blinker fluid right after that.
Obviously, you're going to give the money back, but, because, I'm not going to take something that somebody earned. Yeah. But if you're going to be that damn lazy, I'm going to make it harder on you to get your money.
And I don't think
it's the real world.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think she was being lazy. I think she was intimidated. She's never.
Hey, no, that might have been the wrong word to use, but I'm just saying that's And
I was like,
I have to get she is part of the generation that they do kind of like they want their parents to do things for them. Where you guys have done better with them, and where you were like, no, you're gonna go do it.
I mean, you know how I broke my kids that early?
Okay, because everybody now wants to be their friends. And it's like, it's not just the kids, it's the parents that are letting it happen.
Yeah.
Right. And I broke my kids that early because I empathize with you, Willis. When the eldest was 7 and the youngest was 4, I took them to an indoor mall, big bustling place on a Saturday. And we're right in the middle of the damn food court, right in the middle of the whole thing. And I said, okay, guys, here's the test, man. And they're just looking at me like, what's the old man going to do now?
Right.
And I opened my wallet. I took out 3 $5 bills. And I said, hey, guys, each one of you go get change from any of these stores here. It's not a race. You may going to strike out somewhere, but just go get me change. I'll be standing right here. And so they took off. And 2 kids struck out at one store, went to another. Another kid came back with 20 quarters in his pocket. And they came back and they're excited. Oh man, we undertook this task in the midst of all these strangers in a strange place. And we did that again and again and again. And then we elevated it. We go to a restaurant and I'd say, okay, and I point at the 6-year-old, you memorize all of our orders, all 5, and you tell the waiter or waitress what we're having. And then we go to an airport and I'd say, here's all the paperwork. Go get us 5 boarding passes. Or here's the old man's ATM card. Go get me $300. Here's the passcode. So they, from an early age on, were in the midst of all these situations where they had to act. There was no excuses. They had to act and they had to pull off a task. And of course, it does pay off because, my youngest kid is like 6 years old in the midst of this mall. And it was at a birthday party, and the irresponsible parents leave with 13 of them and leave 3 in the food court, standing there all alone. The other two kids are crying. And my kid says, wait a minute. My dad told me at a college football game once when we were there, you're not tall enough to see anything. So you just got to look for that guy or that woman with a stripe running down their pants. And that's a soldier or it's a security guard or policeman. And just run up and grab their legs and say, hey, help me. And that's what they did. So those real world experiences, just like going into that bank, that's where it pays off because when it's panic time, the kid doesn't fold. He thinks of a way out or a way around. And is used to being in society in strange places. And there's nothing that does that better than the military because from day one, after you leave MEPS, you're in a strange place for the next 4 years, strangers.
I mean, she literally walked in after she got out of the truck. She walked in, did her business and came back out. She was like, I said, was that terrible? She goes, no. I was like, all right, so now you're good. You can do this from now on because you got your account number, you got everything that you need, and now you know you can walk in the bank, put your money in the account, and boom, you're good. And she's going to be very frugal with her money. Like literally, she's just starting making the money, and she's like, Dad, I don't want to spend no money. Now my other daughter, my oldest daughter, now granted she's got $7,000 in the bank right now as a 17-year-old. How many 17-year-olds you know have $7,000 in the bank?
Dude,
No.
I don't
back
even
to
have
the
$7,000 in the bank.
parenting.
So
Yeah.
but now she,
That's all on Julie.
yeah, that is Julie, because I like to spend money as fast as I make it. But we do, my wife is a banker. She's been in banking for 20 plus years, and she teaches my kids very well on money, on how to keep money and save money. Now, Grace, she does like to spend it a little bit more. Like she likes going up and getting her energy drink or her candy salad, she calls it. She's got a reusable Ziploc baggie that she puts all of her candy in, mixes it all together, and calls it candy salad. And she fills it up all the time. And but she still, like I said, she's still got $7,000 in the bank. She will take her money and put it on her checking side, and then she takes the rest of the money and puts it in her savings. And as a 17-year-old, I never had $7,000 in the bank.
Dude, she could go out and get a very decent car right now.
But she's also making $13 on the hour, and she works, or she goes to school. The bus drops her off at her work, and then she gets done at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So she gets done at school. She's at work by 2:30, 2:45, and then she'll work to 6. She's making $13 an hour. When I first started working, I think I was making $5.25, which, and then my youngest is making $10 on the hour at her job. Of course, she's 15 and she's working every day this week.
And she can get tips.
No, because she works in the kitchen.
Oh.
She makes pizzas. But they're learning a very, very valuable lesson of how to save money, how to take care, budgeting, how to budget or balance a checkbook. I think we lost Jeff. Jeff, you there? But
Weekend at Bernie's.
I think he might have froze up.
Yeah, we'll just keep. But there you are. Welcome back. Welcome back.
He's back.
Oh, maybe. Oh, there's a blink.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. But yeah, they do very well at saving money, and that's something as a parent. I wish my mom had taught me that when I was growing up. But my mom struggled. She had to work 2 jobs to make ends meet, so she didn't really have. She couldn't save. And luckily, my wife, who's amazing, and I'll sing her praise all day, every day. She's taught our girls how to save money, and that way they're going to be successful in life. By the time they're 30 years old, they're going to be set, or not set, but they're going to be financially stable at 30 years old, if not before then. So.
They're gonna be all right.
Yeah, and something else too, and this goes to what Brandon was talking about with his daughters, and obviously you with yours. If you look at the struggles of Gen Z, which all these kids are a part of, like a third show up with mom and dad to the freaking interview. Kids like yours are going to be on top because so many kids can't do those basic functions. And so the high end 10 to 15% of people who are competent and who follow through on things, whoever they are, whatever their personalities or intellect, they're going to, your kids, mine, are going to be at that upper echelon because they've learned from day one how to get things accomplished. And just, again, the military is the same damn way. And so it's a counterintuitive thought that, it's the cycle right now is the weak men, the weak people. And our kids are very fortunate because they're going to be at the top when it all shakes out.
I hope so.
And
I really do hope
at the top
so.
right now.
And I'm very lucky that my biological daughter, my stepdaughter, they don't need me anymore. They only they want to hang out and whatever. They don't need you. Like my stepdaughter was on a sorority trip, and she saw the signs of sex trafficking because they were coming after my daughter and her friends. And my daughter picked up the tail, and she knew. And she turned around and looked the person dead in the eye, just everything I taught her to do, and they're fine. It's a dangerous world, and I helped to raise my stepdaughter that it's a dangerous world. My wife wasn't very happy with the way that I was teaching her, but now that she's looking and doing, but you're right. The kid, the next generation, this is our future, period, and it looks bleak, but there's these little beacons of hope.
Yeah,
our kids. There's more parents like us out there. It's a majority that's just been kind of quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I do want to ask you one question, and it is the question. What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? I can tell you as a dad that I don't want to see that government car pull up underneath my trees in my front driveway with two guys in suits.
Yeah.
But that doesn't keep me up at night. I'm a prayerful guy, and I pray a lot, and I prayed a hell of a lot when they were deployed. And the youngest kid plays professional rugby on a waiver from DOD, so I get nutty about his games. What keeps me up at night is a terrorist incident in this United States that's mass casualty. Even if it doesn't affect me.
Right. I don't know if I got a buddy.
Maybe that's too specific. I don't know.
No. The question is wide open to whatever answer. I've got a buddy. I don't know if you know him, John Karaku. Used to former CIA. He was the whistleblower for the waterboarding back in 2003, 2007, I think, when they did the whistleblowing for the waterboarding.
Yeah.
And I asked him that same question, and it was very similar. And I like asking people that are higher echelon. I see that you were presidentially appointed to places, and that's what I love asking. And that, to be honest, that was an answer I expected, because it's something that should keep us up at night. So, that question.
That's what I mean about being. Yeah, that's what I meant about being too specific. I worry about my kids. Every parent does, right? I worry about my brother and sister and all that. But that's the biggest thing is maybe it's just a stupid E4 in me. I worry about the country, and that's my biggest fear for the country.
No, and now that was a great answer. Thank you for that. But it's not a loaded question. A lot of people think it's a loaded question, but it's really what I want to know, and it's how I judge a person's character by the way they answer that question. And you, sir, are a man of great character.
So my answer to that question, which when he asked me that question, was mine's the FOMO of missing that one veteran that I'm trying to help, that I'm trying to save.
Yeah.
That's my what keeps me up at night. It's not that, I'm not, because I know my kids are going to be very resilient. I know that they're going to be my kids are like, Brandon's daughter. We taught them at a very young age that you got to look out for these signs of people, trying to take you. So and that's my hypervigilance and my anxiety and stuff. But I taught that onto my daughters, but for me, it's what keeps me up at night is that FOMO of missing that one, and that's like my buddy who is going from Fort Leonard Wood to Fort Riley. I can't get a hold of him, even though I see that he's looking at my text, but he hasn't responded back to me, and I'm worried about him because I know when I talked to him on the phone the other day, you could hear it in his voice that he was struggling because his kids and his wife wasn't with him. And he was supposed to come on. He texted in our group chat he was going to be on for our meeting, but yet he didn't show, and he hasn't responded back. So I'm like, bro, and I'm like, I need to figure out what's going on with him. But that's what keeps me up at night, is that the fear of missing that one veteran. Because 22 a day is too many.
Luckily, the new stats, it's about 17 a day, so we are going in the right direction. It's no longer 22, but one's too many. But I do feel the need that I want to say this to everybody that's watching and listening, and take my daughter's incident, for example. I just want to tell you that human trafficking is a $1 billion a month industry. And that is just what the cartels are making. Yeah, it's out there. It's real. Too many people have turned their heads on it, and I'm gonna scream it until somebody rips my throat out. Please raise your children to watch. Show them what to look for. Because if I hadn't done that, I don't know where my stepdaughter would be right now. Sorry, I had to get that one off my chest.
Becca got roofied up in Indy.
Oh, did she?
Bad.
Yeah.
Like bad. Luckily, she had a friend with her, and Becca was able to somewhat get her wits about her to get to the bathroom and call my mom. And so mom got to her at 3:00 in the morning, got her to the hospital, and the hospital said that you would not believe how many a night come in there that were able to get there. Like how many?
There are also gas stations out there that have this yellow sign out in front of them with a house. They are built with a secret room in the middle of that building somewhere, that if you walk in and say, I'm not safe, they will put you in this hidden room and call the cops.
Well, there's a lot of things at bars now where they have coding.
The safe room.
Hey, I
want the safe rooms.
Can I have this certain kind of drink? And they know what they need to do.
Angel shot is what's called an angel shot.
Angel shots. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah,
anyway,
there's.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good because kids. That's part of with Jeff here being. He talks about resilient kids and stuff like that. That's what you do as parents. We have to teach our children at a young age to be very vigilant around their surroundings, especially when we were growing up. When we were growing up, we didn't have to worry about it as much because I was like you. I played out in the street until the freaking street lights came on.
Going into random people's houses, all kinds of stuff,
all the time. But now you can't do that because you never know. Joe Blow driving down the street in a white panel van might be there to snatch you up. You never know.
Yeah, now they're doing it it's not just walking.
It's not panel vans anymore.
I know, right?
It's people walking past you and bumping you. And that quick that they got something inside of you.
Or I seen a video the other day where they put a piece of clothing, like they sprayed some chemical on this clothing and stuck it over the mirror of the car. So when the girl came out, she touched the clothing just by touching it, and she started falling down. And luckily, somebody was there and saw what was going on. And
they're lacing stuff with fentanyl. But anyway, that's a show for another day because I could go down.
Yeah, that's a show for another day.
Yeah,
but no, Jeff, man, I want to thank you for coming on here. I want to thank you for spending this hour and 30 minutes that we've been on here, and your knowledge and your expertise in parenting, and you were sharing it with the world. That's amazing.
Yes,
and then you raised three great humans that joined the dark side, unfortunately. But no, they're serving their country. They have servant's heart. That's amazing.
Decent human beings.
And you raise decent human beings, even though you give your ex-wife 90% of the credit. But so if you're out there on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're watching it, you can go to Jeff's website. And this is what I'm going to preference. You can order the books through his website. which is
Yes, sir.
nelliganbooks.com. And the reason
That's
I say
right.
go to his website is
Don't go to
because-
Amazon.
Yeah, don't go to Amazon because he's not going to get nearly what he would get from going to his website. So go to his website, nelliganbooks.com, order his books. He's got several books on there that you can order. And then if somebody wanted to reach out to you, go ahead.
Sure. If they want to reach out, it's jeff@resilientsons.com. And the email address, jeffresilientsons.com, is also on the website.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, I want to thank you again, man. It's been awesome. Are you going to go contact?
Wow.
Having you on
What a
here.
conversation.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jeff, you have a friend request inbound from me on your Facebook.
He was my friend first.
You got it, man. I'll get to it. And thanks for having me. And just, thanks for what you do. You talked about those vets when you were showing in the beginning with the Talon preview,
Talent.
that those people on that whiteboard, man, I was practically almost start to sob. I mean, that was moving as hell.
Yeah, there's a little story behind that video as well.
Yeah, there's a long story behind that.
He just never.
So good for you for.
So
yeah, for banging the drum. Good.
Right.
So that video, I'm sitting in the living room. My wife's in the bedroom. My kids are upstairs doing their homework or whatever. And one of the things that we always talk about is ask the next hard question. We always talk about that on the podcast. Because I can walk up to Jeff and say, "Hey, Jeff, how you doing today?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm fine." And then I leave it at that and I walk off, right? Well, inside Jeff is in turmoil and he's wanting to talk to somebody, but don't really know how to talk to somebody. So that's where I always say, ask that next hard question. Well, I'm sitting in the living room upstairs. Yeah. I'm sitting upstairs in the living room and all of a sudden this commercial comes on and I watch it. And I'm like, holy shit. I pause it, rewind, hit play again. I'm like, shit. So I paused it, rewound. I called the wife. I was like, "Hey, come in here and look at this video." And she goes, "Okay." So she came in. She watched it. She goes, "Holy shit!" And then I started. I sent it to Candace. I'm like, "Hey, Candace, check this out." And then it's just one of those things. And we play it twice in our podcast. We played it at the very beginning.
At least.
And then we're going to play it here in just a few minutes at the end.
That gives me goosebumps every time.
And I would like to throw in, it's never too late to call 988. If you're a veteran, call 988, press 1. If you're nervous about calling and talking to somebody, did you know that you can text 988 and they will have a text conversation with you? You don't even have to talk to anybody.
I didn't know that.
So just remember, I have used 988. I've had 3 suicide attempts in my life since coming back from Iraq. I have used 988 and I'm still sitting here to talk to you because I had the balls to pick up that 500-pound phone. But you can text them. You don't have to tell them who you are. It's an anonymous text. So just remember, call 988.
Yeah.
I never knew that you could do the text thing. You know how many, just putting that out there, how much difference that makes? People that don't want to make that phone call or feel like they're stuck talking or explaining and being able to type that as
don't have to do it. Just type it out.
So your website's in chat, your email's in chat if they want to get in touch with you. My wife, when she literally cried when she seen that video, and it's for me, it's very, very powerful because that's what we talk about day in and day out on this podcast. If we have to reach that one veteran, and if I reach that one veteran, then I succeeded in my mission for the day. And that right there, and if you ask that next hard question, be prepared. Be prepared to sit there and have that conversation, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's 3 hours, whether it's 12 hours. Be ready to be there for that conversation. If you're going to ask the next hard question, make sure that you're ready for it. So,
and I'm sorry to jump in one more time, but I completely forgot. They just opened a internet-based chat, so you can call. you can text, or there is an internet little chat that is fully anonymous. So whatever you're comfortable with.
So with that being said, Jeff, I'm going to play the commercial one more time before you jump off.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, it gets me. It gets me every time. And
I was practically, this has not even come on yet, and I was just kind of going, "Whoa," when you first showed it back in the beginning.
And you know the thing about it, everything they've written on that whiteboard, I've said.
Yeah,
I've answered everything that they wrote every time.
My go-to is living the dream, and it's up on that whiteboard.
Yeah, that's one of my go-tos. Or I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. It's one of my go-tos. And
man, let's not end it on a sad note.
No,
Bob Ross approves.
I have a question.
We're not ending yet.
I have a question for Jeff. We've had some great conversation, and all of us really got into some personal things with our kids, and I think it was kind of neat, and definitely went away that I did not imagine it was going to. But is there anything about Jeff Nelligan that we did not cover, or something that you would like to throw out there?
Good question.
That you think would either help somebody or just be of knowledge?
Yeah, this is it. I'll just say it. Inspiration and being authentic, like you three are, with your kids. When we would be driving around the D.C. area, Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia, we'd always go by these huge office buildings, steel and mortar and brick, glass, and they're ubiquitous. They're everywhere, even in the office parks all around. And we drive by them, and we were always fascinated with them, me and the three kids. And one time I decided to just give them the lesson. And I said, hey guys, look at that building up there. I said, on the 7th floor, there's an office, and there's some guy sitting there, and he's staring at a screen, and on the wall is a picture of his family, and on his desk is a mug like the one you made me in 2nd grade. And he's sitting there staring at the screen, and he's thinking to himself, man, what in the hell am I doing here? I was going to be a jet pilot, or I was going to own a bunch of restaurants, or I was going to form an IT company with my cousin, or I was going to sail around the world. But instead, here I am staring at this stupid screen. And I said, guys, that guy is your old man. So you have got to get farther than I have.
Yeah.
And that inspiration, that story has stuck with them for 25 years. And so that's the authenticity you bring as a parent, a mom or a dad. But that's also the inspiration you give them to say, hey, dad's doing pretty well, but it's not good enough. Good is never good enough. So maybe that's a nice one to end with for parents who really want to drive something home to a kid.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I always tell my kids, be better tomorrow, or be better today than you were yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah. You have to be better today than you were yesterday. But no, man, thank you. Thank you for coming on again, Jeff, and hanging out with us. You have an open door anytime you want to come on and talk about a new book or anything that you got going on in life. Reach out to us and we'll get you back on here.
You got it, man.
You've been amazing. Brandon, I will connect you and Jeff together so he can.
I sent him a.
Okay, never mind.
Facebook.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, good to go. But no, Jeff, thank you. Thank you again, my friend, and we will talk to you soon, my friend.
Great. Thanks again, guys. Brandon, Candace, and Willis. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm tiny. Oh, there we go.
How cool is that?
Man, look, I
mean,
am inspired. That is one hell of a man.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna have to get him on my other show, even though, like, I'm just blown away by his presence and his abilities and what he was able to achieve is outshined by his children.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how
And we
often does that
touch
happen?
the things that he achieved.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
yeah,
just
he really didn't.
we didn't, because I mean, with his political career that he had,
Yep.
and then his military career that he had, we touched on that, but we didn't really touch on the political aspect of things.
I didn't want to go that direction because I knew what we were talking about, and I would.
But just to give him the accolades he deserves.
Yeah,
but it's amazing. Look him up. Just Google his name, and you will see the accolades that this gentleman has gotten.
Yeah, you can Google Jeff. I mean, senior public affairs executive in Washington, D.C., worked for 3 members of U.S. Congress and served twice as a presidential appointee.
Yes,
badass. I'm just gonna say that. He's badass.
3 badass boys.
He's wrote books.
He uses words.
Yes, he uses.
I do not. I don't know. I don't like words.
He wasn't a Marine. He actually used pen and maybe a typewriter instead of those damn crowns.
Yeah.
Hey, I took typing. I'm old. I took typing in school.
If you're a veteran and you're out there and you're struggling with filing your VA disability, HomeFront Sitrep has a new segment. It's hashtag Ask Monica. Ask.
I'm resting my head. Don't worry about me.
No, you're good. Monica Sanford is a badass. I'm just going to say that. She's a badass. She's a doctor of nursing. Has to deal with
her husband for over 30 years.
And 35 plus years.
Yeah.
She's married to a lieutenant colonel, retired United States Marine Corps for 35 plus years. She has graciously accepted for people to email her and ask her questions about VA disability. She's got all kinds of hats. She wears all kinds of hats. So if you got any questions about your VA disability, reach out to Monica at askmonica0@gmail.com, and she will either pop on here and we'll talk about it, or me, Candace, and Brandon will talk about it. But anyway, here we go. Let's play this.
Play it.
Where did Brandon go? My little Nomi left.
I have to go find his sex lunch. Here he is.
My little.
I have the bladder of a child.
Okay, I got you.
Sorry, I thought I had enough time for a little break there. I'm gonna get one of them things, attach it to my leg, and just sit. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, don't get that one. Get the other one.
Just get a bucket. Mute your microphone.
Yeah, I'm gonna just need duct tape and a sports bottle.
Well, they have the new ones that you can just.
Ow. Sorry.
No.
I tried.
I think we need to end this because it's going. It's going crazy.
Oh.
You said it.
Yeah, you did say
it. It was all you.
Don't blame me for me.
Jeff left me with the 2 Marines. I don't know how much longer I can do this.
So if you're out there and you want to you got questions about your VA disability, reach out to Ask Monica at and
Pound sign.
we will get that
Pound sign. Ask Monica.
pound sign. Oh.
So
Pound sign.
listen, my job, I have to give a code to everybody, and it starts with a star and it ends with a pound. And
Right.
somebody the other day was like, hashtag? I was like, no, it's pound sign. It's a pound sign. You're looking at a keypad. It's pound sign.
Yeah,
We're doomed. We're doomed.
I know.
Yeah.
The pendulum needs to start swinging. I tell you, like we got to start going the other way.
Yeah, I think we are. I think we're slowly
Oh, so-
making that turn.
Can we just bring back?
Well,
like,
I've got to say this, but
phones
I've got to
and-
say this because I only have 5 months left to do this.
Whoa, do what?
I only got 5 months left to do this. Ready? For the last 3.5 years, people have been telling me where to go, and I'm tired of it. Everywhere I go, I hear, "Let's go, Brandon."
I got
Where
it.
am I going?
I don't know.
Somebody tell me.
The hell?
I just
Change your
want-
ways.
I just want my name to be Felicia. Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
Willis?
Felicia
I'm
Willis, ladies and gentlemen.
Felicia
I'm
Willis.
Stuck. I'm stuck somewhere.
You must
on
be
his
Gen Z.
ear and pulling my ear.
I don't know. I'm Gen nothing, man. I'm just me.
Well,
I don't fit into any mode because when God made me, He broke the mold.
dying.
Yes, really.
But anyhow, man, everybody out there, you got to ask that next hard question. If you need Dave, if you need me, David, if you need Candace, you need Brandon, reach out to us.
I'll give you
or
my
Jeff.
number. Call me.
Or call me. Yeah, my number's out there. We got some
Okay.
great episodes coming up.
I get
Let's
confused
see.
that way. I have to be
I hope I'm not involved in them.
Well,
Y'all want to stay number one, don't you?
Well, yeah, we are. So tomorrow we were supposed to have. So Brandon was supposed to have his first episode tomorrow with
wait, what
Hometown
happened?
Heroes Outdoors.
Leave it to
Unfortunately, unfortunately, one of the founders that was supposed to come on with Craig wasn't able to come tomorrow, so we got it rescheduled. I believe that one's going to be July.
You know, we could still do a podcast tomorrow with
July
just the three
2nd.
of us. I mean,
Well,
not
I
to
mean,
say that
I'm on 4 veteran nonprofit board of directors. I mean, we can come up with something.
So, yeah, we definitely can come up with something. Why don't? Oh,
We got plenty to talk about.
next weekend we will not have any podcast episodes. The 23rd or 25th. I will be out of town
he
until
has no faith in us.
Well, I'll be ghost hunting on the U.S. the battleship. I'll be ghost hunting at the battleship North Carolina.
Whatever. So,
So-
didn't we just talk about resilience?
Yeah, but y'all deserve a break.
Aw. I can't wait to spoon with you.
He just has no trust.
But anyway,
gonna be nice.
it's my wife's birthday, so we're not doing
Smart
any
man.
episodes.
Smart man.
The 26th, we're going to have our Tip of the Spear Veteran Roundtable, which is a friggin' amazing episodes. That includes Triple Threat Vets podcast, Misfit Nation podcast, I Am Pitts podcast, The Decision Hour, Homefront Sitrep, The Oath We Took, Conversations with a Vet.
It's growing so much.
Every Day's a Saturday,
she said.
USMC Vet, Oscar Mike Radio, Shaman Sundays. So there's
That's neat.
yeah, that's you. So what we do is we get together once a month, the last Wednesday of the month, and we talk about current events globally. It could be anything. It don't have to be military related. It could just be anything that's going on globally. What are you doing, bro?
Look, keep doing your thing. I can multitask. I can do that.
Oh, I like it.
From the
I like it.
hall of my
So
tail
the last Wednesday of the month, which is coming up on the 26th, we have the Veterans Roundtable. And then to round out the month of June, we got Mr. Brian Roof
Roof.
with Every Day's a Saturday USMC
Oh
vet.
my goodness.
I'm getting tongue-tied because you're rushing me,
Tongue
bro.
tied. I'm not doing it.
The tongue twad.
You're thinking about a
Tongue-tied.
question that I wish I would.
This is why we don't write books as well as Jeff.
Yeah, it's a cooter shooter.
We just can't.
That's what
Nah.
it is.
I got to stay off the weed. What just happened?
Oh man.
No, I thought of a question because he started doing his little singing thing. I think we should ask everybody from now on if they know their chant.
Their chant.
Let's
the
go,
fuck?
Brandon. Let's go.
Let's go.
I know mine.
It's not a chant.
Whatever.
It's not a chant.
It's different.
It's
For
a
each branch, it's different.
Okay, but it's not a chant.
Some of them it's a song. Some of them it's a chant.
For those of
some
you that are
them
still
it's-
watching this show, I apologize. The dumpster's on fire. The dumpster's on fire.
The dumpster's on fire. It's not a chant. It's the Marine Corps hymn.
Him,
Not everybody.
like
is in the
God.
Marine Corps.
God chose us.
Jeff was not in the Marines.
No, it was the Army song.
See? So they're all
You-
different.
Jesus was here before the Marine Corps. So your heart belongs to Jesus, but your ass
anywho-
belongs to the Corps.
Brandon's gone.
Private Pile.
Private pile. What is this? It's a jelly donut. Anyway, God bless.
What's your major malfunction, Private Pile?
Oh, boy.
I'm going
If
to go.
God wanted you up there, he'd have willed you up there by now.
Dude, I'm about to go Sling Blade up in here.
Hey, listen, let's go. We have somebody in the green room waiting to chat with us.
Yep.
Hey,
Anywho,
you go Sling Blade. I go Deliverance.
like Candace and I always say, and we're going to add Brandon into this, stay safe out there. We got your six.
Love you guys.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.